3,000 pairs of shoes, designer gowns, millions in jewels, opulent mansions across the globe. This wasn't the wardrobe of a Hollywood star. It belonged to Imelda Marcos, the First Lady of the Philippines. While her people plunged into unimaginable poverty, she was living a fantasy built on stolen billions. So much stolen, in fact, that her husband, Ferdinand Marcos, holds a chilling Guinness World Record, the greatest robbery of a government. How did two people steal up to $10 billion from their own country? And what did it cost the Filipino people? The year was 1965. Ferdinand Marcos was elected president of the Philippines, a nation brimming with promise, a vibrant democracy in Southeast Asia. They presented themselves as the saviors of the Philippines, destined to lead their country to prosperity. But behind the dazzling smiles and public appearances, a darker ambition was brewing, an ambition that would transform their rule into what historians now call a conjugal dictatorship, systematically dismantling democracy and siphoning away the nation's wealth dollar by dollar. For the first few years, the Marcoses maintained a veneer of democratic rule. But as their grip tightened, the cracks began to show. On September 21st, 1972, Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. This wasn't just a political maneuver. It was the key that unlocked the national treasury for their personal use. With the stroke of a pen, he suspended constitutional rights, crushed dissent, and consolidated absolute power. Suddenly, anyone who spoke out against the regime could be arrested, tortured, or simply disappear. This iron fist allowed them to operate with impunity, treating the Philippines not as a nation to govern, but as a personal piggy bank. Their method of theft was insidious, a sophisticated system dubbed crony capitalism and outright kleptocracy. Imagine this. The Marcoses would grant exclusive control over vital industries, sugar, coconut, electricity, to their closest friends and relatives, their cronies. These cronies would then receive behest loans from government banks. Think of it as a limitless credit line, requiring little to no collateral and often with no intention of repayment. These funds, meant for national development, were funneled into private hands, with massive kickbacks flowing directly back to Ferdinand and Imelda. Public works contracts were inflated, foreign aid diverted. To hide this colossal theft, they used a labyrinthine network of dummy corporations and foundations in offshore tax havens. And to open secret bank accounts in places like Switzerland, they didn't use their real names. Ferdinand became William Saunders, Imelda, Jane Ryan. A secret identity for a secret fortune, estimated to be between $5 billion and $10 billion, though some economists believe it could have been as high as $30 billion. Consider this. Ferdinand Marcos's declared legal income was a paltry $13,500 to $20,000 a year. How do you explain billions in hidden wealth with an income like that? The numbers simply don't add up, revealing the brazen scale of their deception. As the Marcoses lived in unimaginable luxury, the warning signs for the Philippines became impossible to ignore. In 1965, the country's foreign debt stood at a manageable $599 million. By 1986, it had exploded to a staggering $28.3 billion. This wasn't just a number on a balance sheet. It was a noose tightening around the neck of every Filipino. Public services crumbled, inflation soared, and the gap between the opulent elite and the struggling masses became a gaping chasm. In 1965, 4 out of 10 families lived in poverty. Marcos's rule in 1986, that number had surged to 6 out of 10. Real wages for agricultural workers plummeted by at least 30%. And for low-paying jobs, wages declined by a shocking 72.6%. The economic suffering was immense, but it wasn't the only cost. Dissent was met with brutality. During the dictatorship, 3,257 people were extrajudicially killed, 35,000 were tortured, and 737 disappeared. An estimated 70,000 were incarcerated. The nation was bleeding economically and literally. The breaking point came in February 1986. Years of suppressed anger and desperation finally erupted into what became known as the People Power Revolution. Millions of Filipinos from all walks of life took to the streets of Manila in a peaceful, yet defiant, protest, faced with overwhelming popular opposition and losing the support of the military. The Marcoses' reign finally crumbled. On February 25, 1986, they fled the presidential palace, leaving behind a nation in ruins and a trail of unimaginable extravagance. Their destination, exile in Hawaii. And it was in the immediate aftermath of their flight that the true scale of their kleptocracy was laid bare for the world to see. Inside the palace, investigators discovered not just thousands of Imelda's infamous shoes, initially reported as 3,000 pairs, later confirmed to be over 1,000, but also designer clothes, artworks, and mountains of documents detailing their illicit wealth. The world gasped at the sheer audacity of it all. The immediate consequence was a country shattered, economically crippled, and deeply traumatized. The Presidential Commission on Good Government, or PCG, was immediately established to recover the stolen wealth. It's been a monumental task. As of 2019, they've managed to claw back around $3.6 billion, including $683 million released by Switzerland to the Philippines treasury in 2004, and $650 million forfeited from Swiss accounts by the Supreme Court in 2003. And in 2018, Imelda Marcos herself was convicted of 7 counts of graft for illegally funneling about $200 million to Swiss foundations. But the human cost is immeasurable. People like Chris Sorio, a college student and activist, symbolize the brutal reality of the Marcos regime. Arrested in 1982 after martial law was declared, he endured horrific torture, including electric shocks to his genitals. I was just looking at the ceiling, and I was praying and prepared myself to die at that point, he recounted. He was detained for 2 years. His story is just one of tens of thousands. Even after Ferdinand Marcos died in exile in 1989, and Imelda was allowed to return in 1991, the legal battles continued. Yet, much of the stolen fortune remains unrecovered, still hidden in secret accounts and shell corporations. A constant reminder of the heist that robbed a nation, of its future impacting generations. The story of Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos is a chilling testament to how absolute power, combined with insatiable greed, can systematically dismantle a nation. It's a stark reminder that financial crimes are rarely victimless. They destroy lives, cripple economies, and leave scars that last generations. The Philippines continues its long, arduous fight for full justice and recovery, a battle against a legacy of plunder that still casts a long shadow. But it also stands as a beacon of resilience, a people who, through their collective will, finally said, enough. The question remains, how many more hidden fortunes are out there, built on the suffering of ordinary people, waiting to be exposed? What other collapses are lurking beneath the surface?